Marcia. Let me pause there
Love
and see
it.
if you have any clarifying questions so far.
I love it. I love it. So, okay, so this is really great. It's an eye opener. Instead of chasing the revenue and trying to do more, which is the answer for every most business owners, it's if I just make one more phone call, if I just make one more sale, if I just landed that deal, if we just got that one employee, it's always one more, right? But this isn't a one more. This is a structure conversation that if you had it sounds like, and I know you're going to come up with those answers, but if you just had the right structure to open up that hose to be able to deliver more, then when you added that one more call and everything else, it sounds like it might be a better answer. And the thing that I'm afraid business owners are missing is that there's two ways of growing your company, right? There's the what am I doing right now, and what is it worth later on? Right? Because if you're putting your blood, sweat, tears, nights, weekends, savings, stress, and everything else into this company, and you're probably not pulling out more than your income, what is it worth, right? And if you could sell it later on for something, hopefully something really nice, then you're working towards that goal. And I think that's the base of this conversation that we want to continue on is to give you that detail. So I wanted to make sure we had it all into a clear understanding because your stories are fantastic, but this is really, really powerful information.
The way that I would drive that point home even further is let's look at our pocketbook. My wife has a pocketbook, and inside there, she has a change purse. In that change purse, I'm sure there's a quarter. A quarter has two sides. It has a heads and a tails. So does a
Mhm.
business. A business has two sides when it comes to value. It has the revenue component. Now, some businesses track EBITDA, some people track net operating income, some businesses track SDE. Today's not a valuation lesson, but there are two components. One is a revenue number, and then the other is a multiple component. Most of us go out and we try to attack the revenue component by working harder, but the reality is we can't work any harder. We're already working our fingers to the bones. We're working 90
Exactly.
hours a week. So what we have to do is we have to focus on the things that drive the value that doesn't require us to work harder. That's the multiple. Now,
Mm.
underneath that multiple component, there's 256 different measurements. The way in my office, in my studio where I'm at today, there's a soundboard over here, a professional soundboard, and it's got little sliders up. We've seen it perhaps at our church or at a music concert. When we go there, there's sliders. There's 256 little things that we can move in a company that if we turn one or push one of them up, it has a positive and negative reaction somewhere else in the company. So everything that we do is going to have both positive and negative results. Some of the results could be short term or long term, or some of the effects could be short term or long term.
Mhm.
Whenever we're working to drive our value of our company and where a value advisor comes in is we'll say, okay, you're about $2 million off from being best in class. No more revenue, but if we just move these 36 things over the course of the next 2 years, we could add $2 million more value to your company. There's little measurements that we could check. So go back to my mountaintop friend. After we tore his company apart, we identified there were 17 things that he needed to do in his company. The very first thing was he needed to replace his office manager. His happened to be his oldest sister. So he literally walked in and fired his
Never
oldest
happened.
sister. So his oldest sister's gone. We had a right office manager in place, somebody who could decentralize him from the day-to-day ops of the company. Number one move. Once we did that, we began the snowball effect. 4 years later, he's a decamillionaire. So in our businesses, for those of us who are business owners, we understand there's a value and we understand our company could grow in value. But here's why all that matters. Because at some point in our life, we control freaks, us business owners, because we like to control everything. We ultimately want to control our exit. It makes no sense to me. Here's a soapbox. Soapbox. I'm gonna warn you in advance, friends. It makes absolutely no sense to me that we're the most controlling people in the world and we control everything in our company except for how we exit our company.
You know why? My theory on that is
Please.
that they don't think about it until they're ready to do it, right? It's not like selling your home where you put some new flowers in the front yard, slap a fresh coat of paint on. Yeah, it's not that. And that's the thing that really bugs me is that they wait too long to think about their exit rather than thinking about it on day one, like you just did on this, I guess I want to say last version of your company.
Yes.